Hello guys, welcome to the movie recap review. Happy watching.
The film begins with a ballet recital featuring 12-year-old Abigail performing on stage. In the audience, there is no one but vacant seats. Subsequently, 3 criminals were waiting for her performance to finish. Meanwhile, outside Abigail's mansion, their accomplices, a hacker, a sniper, and a getaway driver, standing by, awaiting instructions. The 3 criminals enter the mansion as Abigail arrives. The 3 inside swiftly abduct her, hustling her into a waiting van. They navigate through the streets without raising suspicion, eventually arriving at an old mansion. The group convenes with their leader, Lambert, who assigns them code names: Frank, Joey, Sammy, Dean, Peter, and Rickles. Their objective is to hold Abigail for a $50 million ransom from her wealthy father, planning to split the sum at $7 million each after 24 hours. Lambert confiscates their phones and orders them to ensure Abigail doesn't see their faces before he departs. He assigns Joey as the only one who can enter her room. The Crooks gather for drinks and some rowdy fun. Dean tries to read each of their backstories, but he doesn't guess any of them correctly. Frank, Peter, and Sammy wager money, challenging Joey to read their backgrounds. Joey nails it. Frank is an ex-cop. Peter was an enforcer for the Quebec Mafia, and Sammy, who comes from a wealthy background, engages in crime for the thrill. Later, Joey checks on Abigail, and they share a brief bonding moment. Joey reveals she has a son, whom Abigail nicknames Justin since Joey won't disclose his real name. As Joey leaves, Abigail cryptically apologizes for what is going to happen. Joey discloses to Frank what Abigail told her, and in curiosity, Frank immediately went to Abigail's room without his mask, revealing his face to her. Pointing his gun at her, he demands to know her father's identity. Abigail reveals her father is Christophe Lazar, a name that fills Frank with dread. Lazar is a notorious underworld figure, and during Frank's time as a cop, a mission against Lazar resulted in the deaths of 4 teammates, presumably at the hands of Lazar's feared hitman, Valdez. Dean tries to make a move with Sammy but fails. He then turns his attention to Peter, who is drunk, sleeping in a couch. He makes fun of him by drawing lines in his face. After, he heads to the basement, where he is suddenly dragged away by an unseen assailant. Sammy hears his scream and investigates, only to witness Dean's head falling off his body. The group discovers Dean's gruesome fate and begins to panic. The group heads to Abigail's room to check on her, but they found nothing but Abigail lying on bed. Attempting to flee the mansion, they find that the security system has been activated, trapping them inside. Joey returns to Abigail to ask if someone has entered her room, but she denies and tells her that Frank is working for her father as the hitman, Valdez. Joey and Rickles privately speculate that Frank might really be Valdez and is eliminating the group to claim the ransom money for himself. While searching for an escape route from the mansion, Rickles is mauled to death by the unseen attacker. Joey confronts Frank, accusing him as Valdez. Frank suggests to Peter that they should kill Abigail. Peter heads to Abigail's room to eliminate her, but Joey intervenes. While they confront each other, Abigail reveals herself to be a century-old vampire and the real Valdez. She lunges at them. Frank attempts to shoot her in the head, but she heals instantly. Fortunately, they manage to escape the room. The group scrambles to figure out how to combat a vampire, resorting to the classic tropes: garlic cloves, crosses, silver bullets, and stakes. They plan an ambush and find Abigail dancing with Dean's corpse. Abigail seizes Peter's cross necklace and stabs him with it. Sammy's attempt to use garlic fails, and Frank attempts to stab her with a stake, but halted. Instead, she pierces it to his legs. Abigail seems like she's playing with them and allows them to escape. They separate ways to find a way out. At the basement, Sammy fell into a pool filled with the bodies of Abigail's previous victims, and Peter is chased by Abigail until Frank and Joey find them. Abigail tries to choke Frank, but Sammy intervenes, resulting in Abigail biting her arm. In the end, Joey manages to subdue Abigail using the same tranquilizer they had used during her kidnapping. They lock Abigail in a cage, temporarily securing her. Frank tries to intimidate her, but she starts revealing the group's real identities and secrets. She exposes Sammy as Jessica, who stole from her parents before running away. She calls Peter by his real name, Terrence, and mocks his past as a mafia enforcer. She identifies Frank as Adam, disclosing that he once worked for her father until she killed his team and left their mutilated bodies for him to find. Finally, she reveals Joey's true name, Ana Lucia, a former army medic who lost custody of her son due to a morphine addiction that led her to accidentally sever an artery of a major crime figure. This incident brought her to the attention of Abigail and her father. Abigail explains that all of them had connections to Lazar and were specifically targeted by him, with Lambert bringing them to Abigail as her prey. Joey suggests that Abigail is seeking her father's love, but Abigail coldly responds that Lazar never loved her and that she simply enjoys playing with her food. Frank is assigned to guard Abigail, but she escapes her cage and attempts to strangle him. Joey breaks open the boarded-up windows, exposing Abigail to sunlight, which weakens her. The group splits up to find an escape route. Meanwhile, Sammy succumbs to her vampirism, and Abigail starts controlling her like a puppet. Sammy bites Peter, draining his blood. Joey and Frank confront Sammy and discover that she is already turned into a vampire. As she moves to attack Joey and Frank, Joey uses a reflective surface to direct sunlight toward Sammy, causing her to explode into bloody chunks. Joey and Frank search for a way to disable the mansion's security and discover a control room with Lambert inside. He reveals that he is also a vampire and confesses that he brought the criminals to the mansion to feed Abigail, with no intention of any ransom money. Lambert offers Frank a chance to join them as a vampire to overthrow Lazar and Abigail. Frank accepts, allowing Lambert to bite him, but then immediately stakes Lambert and blows him up moments later. Now a vampire, Frank goes after Joey and Abigail, planning to take over Lazar's empire. Abigail and Frank engage in a fierce fight, during which Frank drinks some of Abigail's blood, enhancing his strength. He then bites Joey, intending to turn her as well and make her his puppet, but she resists his control. Working together, Joey and Abigail overpower Frank and stake him, causing him to burst into chunks of bloods and instantly curing Joey. Abigail informs Joey not to worry because killing the vampire who turned her will free her from vampirism. As night falls, Joey prepares to depart, but her plans are interrupted when she encounters Lazar himself. Lazar reveals that he is gone by many names, hinting at his most famous one. He prepares to kill Joey, but Abigail intervenes, explaining how Joey aided in saving her from Frank. Moved by this, Lazar and Abigail spare Joey's life and set off to find her son, Caleb, whose name Abigail knows. Joey quickly gets into a van and drives off, determined to locate Caleb.
And that's the end of the story. I hope you liked it. Comment down below what movies do you like us to recap next. Thank you for watching. Don't forget to like and subscribe. Until next time.